Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back for another episode. Let's chop it up. What's up, brothers? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everybody?
How's everybody's week? How's everybody's week? How's everybody's week going?
Eventful. Very eventful.
Yeah, mine is kind of tore up a little bit, man. I have this little back pain right now, man. It's been killing me for the last 2 days and whatnot. So, but other than that, I don't know. I never knew back pain was such a conversation starter with people, man. You ever want a conversation with people telling you that's back pain? I'm serious, man. Just people in the street, all kinds of stuff. Everybody relates with it. But other than that, man, I'm all good. And I talked to my son today from the Navy, so I'm happy about that.
Good.
Finally got a chance. His first conversation, first call back. So I'm good.
Nice. Good. How's he doing?
Yo, he's good. He's taking to it like a fish to water, man. He made a leadership position in boot camp already, man. So he's
nice. Very nice.
Good. So I want to let the people know today's a very special day. We all know what's going on in the news. So today's show might be a little shorter than last week. So I just want to tell people that we got a special guest today. Got my brother Anton Gunn. He's going to talk about leadership. He worked in the Obama administration. We have my sister Miss T. I call her Lady Heroine. You'll know why, because her story is interesting. Because people know about Tekashi 6ix9ine, all the snitching stuff that's been going on, and all that back in the day with Rich Porter and AZ. She's gonna talk about that. So it's gonna be a little different. But this week was kind of interesting for myself because when my man Derik going through back pain, like we always gotta get on these black men without start going to the doctor a little bit more. So this week was kind of interesting for me. I lost this is my second homeboy. I lost in 4 weeks, because other brother that was going to the doctor had a heart attack and stuff like that, died at 49. And then, it was a roller coaster type of week because I had earlier Friday, my man Damien brought me. We do this mentoring program. We had a chance to be in a Zoom with my brother Sanford Green, who wrote a cartoonist and illustrator for Marvel, and he wrote this comic called The Bitter Root. And find out we had Ryan Coogler on that directed the Black Panther. To have them on the same room was really big for the kids and stuff like that. Right. And those two are teaming up. So you're about to see another hot one from Ryan with my man Sanford Green. So that was ill kind of week for me, man. How about you, Rod? What's up, man?
Everything's good.
Why you smiling, Rod?
I think sponsors might be coming. Yo, despite all the craziness, I really think next week, and due to the election and all this stuff, I think we might be getting some sponsors next week, man. I'm happy about that.
We got the sponsors back. Hopefully they stick around, bro.
Yeah. I'm also happy that this is our 5th episode, so we have a handful of episodes now. Yeah. So I'm happy about that. And I need to conduct an investigation. I think that my ex gave the Democrats my phone number because they were blowing my phone up before the election. So I got to find out who gave out my phone number. They would text me. They were calling me. And I kept telling them, I said, all right, enough already. I got y'all. What's all this crazy?
Yo, the Democrats treated like the dude like they finally got the butt from the lady. He stopped texting after he got the butt on Tuesday. He never hit me back.
That's right.
He never hit me back. Democrat never hit me back.
The funny thing is, I want to return numbers so when I got a problem, I could call the White House. But they don't give a number.
Like I'm texting them back. Like, what did I do wrong? You haven't called me since Tuesday.
Yeah.
Brother Kelvin, what's up with you, man? How was your
week, man? First of all, let me apologize to the viewing audience. If you can't see me, I'm not in the studio. I'm actually en route for the show heading to DC. So I'm on location right now. So that's what that's about. Somebody's got to go down there and cover, the events that have taken place over the last few hours. So I'm excited about the historic value of what's going on right now. My week has been very interesting, as most weeks are during this cataclysmic time that we're living in. But I'm very, very excited. Finally, 2020 has delivered some life-changing news that makes everybody feel excited about the future. So I'm really and salute to all of the black women who have held it down in Atlanta, Georgia, and throughout the state, and all the different places that we couldn't do it without you. Thank you, Stacey Abrams, and the rest of the crew and those. Thank you for your indefatigable efforts in keeping this going and getting this foolishness away. I'm gonna go down there and help the man pack to get out of the White House. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, listen. It's not over though, because we still got Georgia. We still got. We got to put that seat. No, we still the Senate seats. The Senate seats.
Yeah. We got a runoff coming up, right? We got a runoff
coming up. It's not over. Right. We need Sister Stacey. She got a day off today to celebrate. She can turn up tonight. You know, but we need Stacey. Stacey got to get back on the job on Sunday.
That's it. Let's go. Let's go.
And we got Keisha down there. You know, we got Keisha got to help them out down in Atlanta and get it going too. So it's not over to the fat lady sings. You know,
let's get it. Let's get it.
I don't know any Keisha. I don't know any Keisha that don't get it done. That's my opinion.
That's true.
Your name is Keisha. You get it done.
You right about that, brother.
It depends how they know. It depends how they spell it, Keisha.
And that's true too.
We spell Keisha a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm talking about the thugged out Keisha.
Thugged out Keisha. Word up.
Oh yeah. Okay, we know that Keisha.
Fulton County Keisha, get it done.
Listen, I got a sister named Keisha. Shout out to my sister Keisha. She get it done.
So you already know, right?
Yeah, she's an attack dog. We send her when she's, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So you go around telling people, don't let me have to call Keisha on your ass.
That's right. Then you got a real problem.
And don't make it be a look Keisha with Ted down.
Yeah,
a look Keisha will bite.
That's all here, man.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think? What are all the Trump fanatics? Because I'm going not fanatics, cult followers, whatever.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do? What would you do with your Trump hat now? What would you guys do with your Trump hat and your flag? I know what I would do with some stuff. I'm gonna let y'all go first.
They're not gonna let it go. Let me explain something to you, right? In my opinion, this is just my opinion. You know, just because Trump just lost the White House, Trump's not going anywhere. We're gonna still be hearing from Trump for probably the next 4 years of this presidency as well. Because the thing is, what was it like? I think like 70 million people still voted for him. You know what I mean? So the bottom line is he still has a strong following. So you got to realize like some of the Republicans are going to need him, even though he's not the president no more, to get his followers to support them in certain, you know, when they rerunning for election or if they need certain things in certain states. Trump is going to still be around. He's still going to be causing chaos too.
You know what? I have to tell you something, Rodney. I actually look at it different. I think his brand is broken. I think it's broken. I think what happens, and this is why I'll tell you why I believe it is. The people that supported him in this endeavor, they can't afford his brand outside of that office. So these people don't live on Fifth Avenue. These people can't afford to buy his ties. They don't live in his buildings. And now that he doesn't have the comfort legally of the White House and the protection from the White House, now all that litigation, New York State is bringing him up on charges. There's going to be some tax problems that he's going to have to face. So I think, because some people suggest that he's going to get a reality show and all stuff like that. I think his brand is damaged. If you remember, before he ran, Mark Cuban said, if he loses, I think he'll go broke because he's burnt too many bridges.
I disagree. I think now you got to look at those rallies. If the guy said boo in a speech, everybody's cheering, everybody's yelling. He could do no wrong with his followers, no matter what he did.
Right, but there's nowhere to lead them now.
The thing is, he still has the conspiracy theories type of people. He's going to create. He is still a brand, Calvin. He's still a brand.
Okay, I mean that may be. You know,
wake up in the morning just to see his tweets. Still to this day.
That is true. But this is what's going to happen if you think. And I think I understand your point because he's been great for the 24-hour news cycle for cable news.
Oh, he was great.
Right. But now the same media that covered him and could not stand him and had to deal with him. It's going to be interesting to see how they go with this now because everybody, like, for instance, most of us have had enough. That's why he has to go now because he's just had enough of it. I don't want to see another tweet again. It depends. Are they going to cover this stuff? Because he can stand up. I mean, look, really, have you seen Hillary since she left? Nobody even wants to see. I know she is.
Hey, can I split the difference between y'all two though?
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna go like this. Rodney, I agree with you. He still has a brand, right? But Kelvin, I agree with you in the sense that his old brand is dead. What he's going to have to do is he's going to have to pivot his whole situation to the far right, bro. You know what I mean? And he, with that crowd, he's still going to have cash.
But this is what you guys, not addressing. Remember, this man is not he's not a politician.
Right. 2,
he never wanted to be a politician. 3, I don't think he ever wanted the job.
No.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Trump, I get Rodney's point. The only way to monetize this thing, he's going to try to command this. But I'm going to tell you what it reminds me of. And remember, I said this. You remember how the world couldn't get enough of Dennis Rodman? And I said the day he's out of professional basketball, the same man, it ain't gonna matter if he put on that dress, he ain't gonna put on makeup, nothing, nobody's gonna give a crap. And watch, we'll see, but watch after this, and especially the way because there's certain bridges you burn, certain nerves you touch. This whole thing about calling this election a fraud, even the good old boys had a problem with that. Even the people that represent, even Fox News had a problem with you tampering with their, precious, election.
My friend Lisa just said that in the chat, like Fox News was kind of done with him. She just said that in the chat a few minutes, a second or two ago.
Oh yeah.
The reason I feel the way I am, because the new Trump story is now, like you said, when he has this case in New York that he's got to deal with, when he's got to answer to all this stuff that he's probably done in the White House. Trump is known for painting himself as the victim, right? So that's going to be his new story. Oh, look what they're doing to me. They robbed me of the election. That's part of the story too. He was that president that was robbed of the election. His base loves that, being the victim. They eat it up. So that's going to be his new story. And the thing is, news media is going to cover him in a different way. And I think they're going to be even harder on him. But the bottom line is they still going to cover him because it's still the story of the presidency. So that's what I believe.
Yeah. So the funny thing is like, what happens now, right? So someone sent a group text. This was before I heard it even on TV. Someone showed me something from a group text, and it said what's going to happen to Donald Trump is he's going to resign. They believe he's going to resign, right?
I heard that.
Yeah. Before the inauguration, Mike Pence will become president. And then pardon them all federal charges.
I've heard that.
So
they can't pardon them. You can't pardon them on state charges.
No. We got another sister. We're gonna be waiting for him. The state attorney general for New York State will be right there.
Oh yeah, you heard about that?
Her last name Jane. She's blacker than black, so she.
Yeah, get him, girl.
Right.
Get him, girl.
You know what I'm saying?
Something. That woman got Vaseline in her pocketbook. She ready to go at any moment.
She pulled her hair back. She got tied it joint up.
Hold my earrings.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Exactly. You remember it? Yeah, you know how I go.
Yeah. Well, see, I'll just tell you like this: the worst thing you could do to a person like him is take away his platforms. That's the worst thing. So now this is the thing: we know the capital, the world media capital, is New York. New York is done with him. He's isolated all those in Hollywood and LA. They can't stand him. Nobody's going to help him. I think they're going to try to freeze him out. Because we've been oversaturated with this. And it's the difference between when you have to listen to somebody and you choose to listen to somebody. And the question is, are you interested in anything he has to say after he's out of power? And I know you're not his base, but do you want to hear from him again after he's out of power in any capacity?
And that's what my friend Brad was just saying. Brad just felt like his ego's broken. This might kill him. The Simpsons might be right. We might see this guy.
You can't kill the devil. You can't kill the devil.
Yeah.
Y'all making some very good points. I can't front. I can't dispute that.
Listen, I'm telling you, we're gonna be hearing still for Trump for the next 4 years.
And don't sleep on Trump here in New York. He might have lost New York in the election, but let me tell you about Long Island. He still got support out here.
That's why I'm trying to tell you. Long Island Red. He still has a strong following. He still has a very strong following. You can't move on a dude like that unless you got.
But see, this is where the conflict is to me, and I've said this from the beginning. I don't think people really were interested in Trump. I think they were interested in the ideology. He became the face of racism. He became the face of it. He gave it a face. But what I'm saying is, to them, I thought it was a means to an end. In other words, the power that he yielded that he wielded, I mean, excuse me, he won't be able to do that. So that's the thing where I just wonder how it's going to play now. You know what I'm saying? What you did was you took a lion and you removed its teeth. And yes, it can roar, but it don't have any power behind that. And that's what I think he is. I think he's impotent now.
But he can still scratch you. He still got the claws. He can still
Good
scratch
point.
you know?
Good point.
Yeah, Lisa said he's going to be in The Apprentice or whatever. He might be an apprentice. I think that's
nobody's giving him
a
right.
No, but he might try to. You think he might get his own TV thing or go online?
He might create his own network.
Maybe online.
And online. Because the thing is, Trump is the reason that there was so much misinformation on social media during these last 4 years.
Right.
Because him and his people and his supporters spreading misinformation. He's the king of misinformation. He's going to continue to do that.
No, I don't know if you guys go ahead.
But I'm sorry. But again, you know, building wall and all these different things and putting these kids in cages and all this stuff. Eventually, you know, his base is uneducated white males. That's his base. Yeah. Now, if you are, you know, living in a trailer park and married to your second cousin and this, that, and the third, and you love this man and all this crap, they love him. But the question is, what can you do for him now financially?
But
what can you do for him?
It's not just that stereotypical white trailer park dude though, man. It's a lot of blue collar white guys, man, out there.
But that blue collar white guy was in it for the business thing. The blue collar white guy was in it for the tax abatements. That's over now. That's what I'm saying. In other words, Trump is self-serving. The people that followed him are self-serving. You know. Yeah. And you know, but hey, it remains to be seen. But I get your point though, Rodney. I totally understand.
You're right about his base being, you know, uneducated white males. And the thing is, too, Trump has the ability to tap into people's resentments and their grievances. So that's where you get all this from.
And listen, and those white women voted for him heavily.
Correct. I was going to say that, too.
They all wrote their Black Lives Matter signs.
Correct. And let me tell you this.
Let me finish this. His supporters didn't gain anything. The only people that gained anything unless you were rich in this country, right? Yeah. So the thing is, that average Trump supporter, he didn't get nothing. Yeah. He still needs a new transmission in his pickup truck. It didn't change nothing. Right. He still needs to get that truck fixed. Yep. So they just basically going and following him basically through their racist mindset. You know what I'm saying? And that's it in a nutshell.
And then another people he's taking with him.
He's gonna stoke the flames of racism even more now.
Oh, you see what Steve Bannon did this week with him? Yeah, he wanted to put people heads on pikes and they banned him from Twitter.
He wanted to put them on the poles of the fences. Put their heads on the poles of the fence.
Build on that.
This is a sinking ship.
Steve
to me, it's a sinking ship, and I'm gonna tell you who on that ship with him. Ice Cube gonna be sinking with him. Lil Wayne gonna be sinking. In other words, what you did was you backed a loser. And it's gonna come back, and that's why I don't understand, especially these black men that jumped on there with him. It's gonna cost Ice Cube money and respect. It's gonna cost Lil Wayne. It's gonna cost all of them. I don't know what this man put in the water that made people just jump into it with him, but it's gonna be broke. I'm sorry. Go ahead, D.
No. 1 minute before I want to bring on our next guest. The thing is, what I think the Democratic Party better pay attention to is that we have different segments of Latinos. The Cuban Latinos are different from the West Coast Latinos, we have more Mexican based, different from our brothers and sisters over in Puerto Rico. Yeah. We better start paying attention to these people. They have a strong voice, and they also better start really listening to black men. Like when we went up to 12, now we got 12% black men that voted for this guy. Yeah, we better start listening. They better start listening because they always cater to the black woman, which is good. But it seems like the black men in a certain Latino base feel like they have a voiceless. Right. So we got to start paying attention to that too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, well, that's. Go ahead.
The thing is, too, the one thing about Trump that people have to realize, right, is that Trump exposed a lot, right? So now at your job, Kelvin, just using an example,
Kelvin,
no, that's all right. Sometimes the K is silent. Go ahead, Rod.
Well, you're at your job and you know who the Trump supporters are. We know who the celebrities are who supported them. We know who the businesses that support them. Now, these people have now been exposed for who they really are and what they're really about. So the thing is, we as a black community, we can't forget about that now. Right. We got to still stop not frequenting these places. We got to still not stop giving them their money. We got to stop buying certain people's albums and stuff like that. We got to now show people like you picked the wrong team. So you know what? We're going to show you what happens when you pick the wrong team.
And and going back to that point you made, like there's 12% you said of black males that actually voted for Trump. We gotta start having a conversation on that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
where's their head at? What are you seeing?
Exactly. What are you seeing, and having a real conversation based on that, not to necessarily push them in our direction or whatever, but we're gonna need that as a people kind of moving forward, trying to understand what do they see that the majority doesn't. You know what I mean? And just kind of have that conversation. We're gonna need to have it.
Yeah. So tonight, guys, we have our first guest tonight. It's my brother. I've known him for at least 30 years, I think it is, something like that. My brother, he's a best-selling author. he's a leader.
Yeah, you see that comment?
The comment. Oh yeah. Yeah. Listen, so he's a leader. Only thing I got against him that he pledged Kappa, but that's another point. That's another point with that. He sat on the Obama administration.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, this brother's brilliant, brother. He's like I said, best-selling author, man. He gonna talk politics with us. He's gonna talk about leadership, and we're gonna talk about what he sees as what Joe Biden should probably do for these next 4 years. So, with further ado, can we bring in Anton, my man Anton Gunn? Actually,
what's going on, brother? I love you.
How you doing?
The last name is tough, boy.
Yo, is that that's really your last name?
Anton, we can't hear you. Nah. Uh-oh.
How about now?
Okay,
there we go.
Yeah, that is my last name. Last name is Gunn. G-U-N-N.
I like that.
Now, Anton, listen, man, brother, man, this has been my dude since the first time he walked down in Columbia. I think, man, he was big dude. He had a lot of hair. We both had a lot of hair back then. You know,
that was a long time ago, man.
Long time ago.
1992 we met, man.
Is it 92? Man, yeah. So I know it's been a long time.
You said 1892?
Y'all wilding, man. Y'all wilding for real.
Yo, nah. Anton, it's good to have you on here, brother, man. Yeah. But my first question, I'm gonna start with you, man. And you know how me and you go back.
Yep.
Top 5 hip hop artists, brother. Let me see what you got. Before we get to this serious question, this is
you want top 5 MCs of all time?
MCs, and then we're gonna go to later on in the show.
That's a very personal question, right there.
It's 100% personal question. But you know that hip hop is who I am, and leadership is what I do. So this is no hard question for me. So out the gate, the number one on all lists, above all lists, is the God MC Rakim.
I knew you would say that. You my man.
Oh, I love this.
I mess with you now, brother. That's it.
Number 2 on my list. Now, let me be clear. I don't put these in order 1 through 5.
Okay,
the only one that is number 1 is Rakim. Only one is Rakim.
You are correct, sir.
Okay, only one is number 1. But the other 4 that I would put on that list were Rakim. Number 2 is Nas.
Okay.
Number 3, Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
Number 4, Coogee Rap. Number 5, KRS-One, the Blastmaster.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a good list. That's a good list.
That's a good list. That's a tough list.
Strong list.
That's a strong list.
I mean, to be honest with you, whoever your favorite rapper is, that's your favorite rapper's father's favorite rapper.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know, no surprise though. Before we get to everything, no, who's never on my top 5, not even my top 10, maybe not even my top 20.
Jay-Z.
Oh,
nah. Tupac.
Oh, he might be top 50 for me. That's
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I know
he's not in no way, shape, or form should be in there because he's not a lyricist. Nobody quote no Two-Road Tupac. But no, I probably lost a whole bunch of West Coast fans right now. But
they'll be okay.
The views expressed on.
So Anton, views expressed, right? So now you're a leader, right? So in your leadership, how do you use hip hop in your leadership? How does hip hop form into your leadership roles? What are you taking from hip hop or any artists and things like that to bring into leadership? How do you do that, man?
Well, so let me be real clear, man. Hip hop is the only reason why I decided I wanted to be a leader. And I would just be real clear. I grew up in the Virginia Beach area. So 757. I remember when Teddy Riley came down the first time to Virginia Beach to Greek Fest in 1989. First time I met Big Daddy Kane, Heavy D, a few others who were all making music with him. Mm-hmm. I was already in love with the culture. But the thing that really made me become, a leader and want me to be a leader was an interview that I saw with the most influential rapper of all time, and his name was Chuck D. Ooh. And Chuck D was being interviewed after they came out with their second album, Fear of a Black Planet. And a reporter asked him, "Is your goal to go platinum?" Yeah. And Chuck was like, "Nah, my goal is not to go platinum. My goal is to create 5,000 new leaders in the Black community." And when Chuck said that, I said I wanted to be one of those leaders. And from that point in time, I intentioned myself to be a leader that would have an impact, that would make a difference in people's lives. And so when I say make a difference, I want to be a leader that leaves what I call significance, not success, because there's a lot of people who want to be successful, but I don't chase success. I chase significance. And so how I use hip hop in trying to be significant to people is always to remain authentic. I don't even try to pretend who I am. Like I'm the dude that's in corporate America that will be in the corner office blasting Biggie's album, not the censored version, not the clean version, but the raw version, not only through my speakers on my computer, but on my Bluetooth in my office, and you can hear it down the hallway. And if you come in, I'm not going to turn it down.
Right.
I might turn it down so I can hear what you got to say. But my point is, what people need in leadership more than anything else is authenticity. I mean, I heard y'all talking about Trump and how people hated Donald Trump and how bad he was. One of the things that people on his side of the aisle gravitated to is that they loved him because he would say whatever he was thinking. He had no filter. He had no clarity about it. So you got good and bad examples of leadership. And just because someone is a leader doesn't necessarily make them good or bad. It's what they do with their position. So I use hip hop by remaining authentic. The second thing that I do is that I use it to connect with people. And as much as we like to pretend that hip hop is not a connector, I'm 47 years old. I was born in 73. You talk about August 11, 1973 at Sedgwick and Cedar when Kool Herc did the house party with his sister. That's when hip hop was born, right? And so in the context of that, there are 40 and 50, 60-year-olds who know hip hop. Yeah. And so I'll be in a board meeting and I will quote a Big Daddy Kane lyric, or if somebody says something that connects to something in hip hop, and you'd be surprised at how many people it resonate with. Like I'm a keynote speaker. I travel around the country and I do keynotes all across the country. I did like 75 last year. And I will tell you that when I come to the stage playing Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, It Takes Two, and there's a room full of white women all in their mid-40s and 50s, they all standing on their feet dancing because they get it. So for me, hip hop is a connector. It's about building relationships and it's about remaining authentic. And that's how I use it.
Okay. That's what's up. I love that. Nice. I love that, brother. It's staying to be yourself and everything like that, man. So I'm sorry, Derik, if anybody wants to say something, I know I could talk, because let anybody else grab the mic real quick, man.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, a little bit about yourself. I know you said that there's injustice in the workplace.
Yeah.
All right. And basically, why do you say that?
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say is that it only takes like a cursory example to look at the following statistics. The Society for Human Resource Management did a study that said over the last 5 years, American employers have lost $233 billion due to toxic workplace culture, which is people work for a boss that they can't stand. And the only reason why they keep showing up to work is because they need a paycheck. Right. But how they get treated by their coworkers, how they get treated by their boss, it makes them want to quit. I mean, I read a study like in Silicon Valley, 37% of Black folks who worked in Silicon Valley say that they were discriminated against them because of their race. So you think about that. When I say turnover, that means you hire somebody and within less than a year, they quit their job because of the workplace environment. It's going to cost you more money to replace them. And many times the reason why people are quitting at work is because of the toxic injustice that happens in the workplace. Here's an example. You've been running a division as a manager for 5 years. The director position has been vacant, but you've done all of the duties that a director does. And you've been waiting for the opportunity to get promoted in that job. And then what they do, they bring somebody half your age with 1/10 of your experience, and they give them the director job. And guess what? They happen to be white and you're a person of color. So how long are you going to sit there and stay in that job when that happens to you? Or maybe your whole department gets downsized and you lose your job but the 3 people that you train get to keep their job. You know, that's injustice in the workplace. And don't even get me talking about how you come in and you get disrespected, dismissed, or discriminated against by a colleague or a coworker. And last year alone, the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission settled $500 million in case settlements for workplace discrimination. And Black people, we don't even file cases as much as we should. I mean, we make up 26% of claims of EEOC, but we only 13% of the workforce. So this is the injustice that exists in the workplace every day. And it's killing companies, it's killing businesses, it's killing our morale. And it's the reason why it's impacting us in so many ways. And we don't have enough people who are doing anything to turn it around or to stop it.
So what can people do to make their companies more inclusive? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is you can't fix what's wrong until you know what's wrong. And the research that I've done has shown me the following, that 50% of people in the workplace don't even know that injustice exists. Like, they live in oblivion. They show up to work and they think everything is good. And many times they don't look like anybody that's on this podcast right now, but they just think it's all good. Then you have another 35% of people, leaders in the workplace, who I'm talking about, who they see injustice, but they don't do anything about it. They see what's wrong and know what's wrong, but they say, well, that ain't my responsibility. That's HR's job. Or they say, well, what can little old me do about this big problem? Or maybe they say, you know what, I want to do something about it, but, you know, I ain't been empowered to do anything about it. So you got 50% that don't see nothing. You got 35% who see something but don't do nothing. And then you got this 10%. This is the worst bunch of the group, which is they see what's wrong and know what's wrong, and usually are in the most senior position to do something about it. But the reason why they don't is because they think they benefit morally, financially, socially, or politically from the injustice staying in place. That they saying, you know, if I help you out, then that might cost me some money. So they don't do anything. So that's 95% of people in the workplace. Mm-hmm. But the 5%, here's what they do. They refuse to sit idly by and watch injustice happen. And they stand up and they speak up and say, you know what, this ain't right. But they ain't got to flip the table over like Mr. Darnell and lean on me. What they should do is just do their part to make it right. Mm-hmm. And when I say do their part, I mean, everybody can do something. I mean, we all see this stuff happen every day, but the vast majority of us don't say nothing, don't do it. We just keep it moving. We just ignore it. But the more leaders we have who are willing to say, you know what, I can't fix everything, but I can fix what happened to Judy. Mm-hmm. Or I can fix what happened to Calvin when he was on the register. Or I can fix what happened to, you know, Sam, who had a great opportunity but got denied for a promotion. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write a letter of recommendation for Sam to get a new position. Or I'm gonna connect Sam with my boy who works at another company to give him a better opportunity because it didn't work out here. We all got to do something to help other people to make it right. And that's what the greatest leaders do, period.
So what you know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. I just want to know, is the answer ownership? I mean, it just seems like, you know, because we can't leverage things, we don't really own or operate certain industries. It's always this idea like you have to go, you have to conform because this is how we're going to use that to intimidate you. So I want you to wear the paisley tie and I want you to speak a certain way, a certain vernacular and things like that. So if we had another card to play, and we have these young minds like yourself, and you and I actually born the same year. What month were you born?
March.
Yeah, you're older than me, bro. I was born in July. So I just, but no, I just think that's the hardest part of it, because there's so many people that if we could kind of harness some of the things, so many young people have such talent in our communities and really don't have direction. And what happens, what I've seen, and I don't know if this has been your experience watching people who have a goal, they just don't have a plan. And that's the hardest part of it.
Yeah, I would say that's a real big part. People have goals, but they don't have a plan. They don't know how to get from A to B to C to Z. And you said a key word, ownership. I will tell you, one of the greatest things we can do is with this current administration that's coming in, or new administration that's coming in, is to really try to find a way, how do we leverage opportunities for ownership? Because, you know, when you're beholden to somebody for a job, you got to operate completely by their rules, and their rules might be fine. But when you experience injustice in the workplace and you get treated unfair, you don't have a way out. And so I say this, I don't care if you are a W-2 employee. If you fill out a W-4 when you get hired and you get a W-2 paycheck every year, there is no reason for you to not to have an LLC with your name on it. Everybody should have Anton Gunn LLC. And maybe all you do is babysit and make $25 for babysitting on the weekend under your LLC. But if you got any kind of talent or skill, you need to be monetizing what you're good at. I always tell people there's two things that you got. You got the thing that you're passionate about, and you got the thing that you're good at. And many times what you're passionate about is not what you're good at. Because I know plenty of 5'5", 300-pound dudes who love the NBA and they passionate about it, but they ain't never going to be good at it. But what are you good at? Are you good at math? Are you good at science? Are you good at statistics? Because if you're good at statistics, can you develop a business where you do data and statistics for high school basketball teams and sell the data to the teams to say, I'll give you a report on the best percentage shots for your players to win? Everybody using data today. So you got to figure out what you're passionate about and figure out what you're good at, but monetize what you're good at. And if you can be really good at finding a way to marry those two things together, that's the win-win. That's how we begin an ownership society and create the businesses and the opportunities that if that job ain't going right and you are in a toxic workplace culture and you want to get out of it, that the step out of the door is not a step down, but it's a step into your own future, one that you own for yourself.
So you mentioned injustice, right? So if you work with the Obama administration, we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. So if you got the opportunity right now to work with Joe Biden, work with this new administration, how would you deal with all the injustice that we would face throughout the George Floyd, the Breonna Taylor, the Aubreys, all that shit? When you walk into the room, what would you say if they came to you and say, Anton, what do you think we should do?
Yeah, so you asking me a 1,000-foot question that's coming in like a fastball, but guess what? I know how to hit fastballs and I swing at them good. So number one, we have three problems in America, and these are long-standing problems as it relates to this issue. One, systemic and structural racism is real and has been real in America since 1619. I grew up in Virginia, and everybody knows the story of Jamestown. That's where it all begins. But in terms of what we can do now, I think one of the biggest problems is that we have police officers who police communities and they don't look like the community. Like if you look at the data, I can show you some data. There are police departments that have Blacks in leadership that are representative of the diversity that the community in which they live. There are less incidences of police violence and brutality. Not to say that it doesn't exist, because we all know, as KRS said, or as Ice Cube said in his song, Black police show out for the white cops too. And Black cops is a problem. So we know that the blue line is thicker than the black line. But statistically speaking, in many communities, when the cops look like the communities that they serve, there's less conflict. A second point would be, let's make sure the cops live in the community that they serve. See, it's easy to be a cop to live out in Manhasset, Long Island, and you got to drive to the Bronx to police that neighborhood, and you don't know nobody that live there. So you don't have no respect in that community. You don't even respect the community because you don't know nothing but other than what you patrol. But if you lived in the Bronx and you were a part of the community and you go to the grocery store with these people, you go to church with these people, your kids go to school with these kids, you're not looking at Tyreek as he's a criminal, because Tyreek is in the 5th grade with your son. So the second thing we got to do is incentivize law enforcement to live in the communities that they serve. So if that's low-cost loans, or if that's mortgages or whatever, they do this for firemen, they do this for nurses, etc., to get people to live closer to the hospitals and the places in which they work. We got to do that. And I think the third thing we got to do is law enforcement is a career that a lot of people don't want to go in. Like my best friend in the whole world, the best man at my wedding, is 20 years in law enforcement. And he tells me all of the time that, he afraid for his life just like everybody else, when he in uniform and when he out of uniform. And there's a lot of people that don't go in law enforcement because they don't pay no money. Yeah. The reason why you get cops who got high school diplomas who may, act crazy, ain't never really been in a diverse community, is because, this is the only job that they could really get out of school. They couldn't go be a banker. They couldn't go work in real estate and do other stuff. So you sometimes get people that you don't get the highest caliber candidate who chooses law enforcement jobs because it pays, not a whole lot of money, particularly in the South where we don't have a labor union, strong labor unions where they got good wages, pensions, and benefits. So I think we got to raise the wages and focus on recruiting in diverse communities. Let's talk to Benedict College and say, in your criminal justice program, how many kids do you have graduating each year out of the criminal justice program? Let's say they got, 150. So how do we identify, how many of those 150 we can put into a law enforcement role right in the community that looks like them? I think that starts to change the game. And those are the kind of approaches I would start with, even though my expertise is probably more in healthcare. And I got better answers on how to deal with COVID-19 than I do how to deal with police brutality and what happened with George Floyd. But that would be my approach to addressing the issues.
That's good because we actually have Rodney is former law enforcement that's on there now.
Yeah.
So you spoke. I think you spoke his language.
You did. You're speaking a lot of my language. There's a lot of things you just said. The only thing I disagreed with was that in New York City, they do make a lot more money. You got cops and sergeants and lieutenants making over six figures.
Wow. Yeah. That's unheard of down south. See, my context is Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And I know, like my brother, who lost his life in the military, he wanted to be a cop and he didn't want to go to college. He wasn't a good student. And so he made a decision that, I'm going to go into the Navy for 4 years and then go try to be, a law enforcement in Georgia. And they were hiring a lot of cops in Georgia at the time. And he went down and took the physical test, took the written test, and he passed them both. But they said, you don't have no college education, so we prefer college education or military. And that's why he chose to go into the military. Now, unfortunately, he was killed in a terrorist attack 9 months into his service.
Sorry to hear that, man.
But he wanted to be in law enforcement. But I remember what he said the salary was when he wanted to be a cop. It was $33,000 a year is what you would make if you were a state trooper. That's South Carolina, 33 grand. So that's a long way from six figures. And yeah, you probably got some bosses who making big money. But the beat cop, I mean, I don't know what they make in New York City, but I don't know if it's enough to afford to live off of in the city. But maybe it is, but it ain't down south. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. But Anton, you played a role in implementing the Affordable Care Act, right? What did you find was your biggest challenges in helping to get that done?
I would say there's two big challenges in the Affordable Care Act, and I'm gonna put it in a sales vernacular for y'all so y'all can understand business. So imagine we were launching an iPhone. Let's say we launch an iPhone 12. So we got a new product that we want to roll out, and we want consumers to buy this product. But let's just imagine that nobody ever had an iPhone before this phone that we bringing out. So they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to work it. They've never seen it before. It's a brand new product. Could you actually launch a new product if you had zero marketing budget to tell people about what the phone is? You couldn't run no iPhone commercials. You couldn't have no demos in the store and let people see how it worked to get excited about the product. Would that product actually do well? The product would not do very well if you didn't have a marketing budget. Because when Apple first launched the iPhone, they had about a $200 million marketing budget to tell people about the product before you could even get it. And that's the reason why people were lined up out the door to get the product, because they got marketed for years. Well, under the Affordable Care Act, we were challenged with having to create a new health insurance product and try to get people to buy that product. But the Republican Congress blocked us from having any money to do marketing. So I had to become the marketing machine. And so literally I did like 900 keynote speeches and workshops and programs like this around the country for 2.5 years, trying to tell everybody what was so great about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare to sign up for it. But I really couldn't show them anything because we didn't have no marketing budget. So that's problem one. Problem two, at the same time that we didn't have no money to tell people how good the product was, the right-wing machine spent every ounce of dollar that they had putting disinformation out there to tell people, if you sign up for Obamacare, then that means you giving the government permission to inject you with a microchip so they can track you around the country. And if you sign up with Obamacare, then that means you giving your life away. And so it was like massive misinformation. So those are the two challenges. We had something good, an affordable way for people to get health insurance coverage if you didn't have it attached to your job and you needed to get it. But we didn't have no way to market it. And we had a bunch of people doing misinformation and disinformation campaigns that kept us from the truth. In the world that we in now, the reason why people got all this fear around, you know, Joe Biden and the socialists and Obama, and they think everybody coming for their guns, is that same disinformation that we dealt with under the Affordable Care Act.
So what do you see in the future of the Affordable Care Act, especially now that we're getting a new administration?
So I think President Biden, who's always said that, number one, the ACA worked well. We just need to fix the places that is not working the best, because the ACA wasn't designed to be the end all or be all. It wasn't designed to be the final solution to solve all of our problems in healthcare. It was designed as a foundation, because the focus was really only on the 50 million Americans who don't get health insurance through their job, like the people who can't get coverage because they are entrepreneurs, or maybe they're low income and they don't have Medicaid in their state that they can get access to. It was for them. But for the other, 250 million Americans, you get it through your job or you get it through your spouses. And there was no point for you to even be bothered with Obamacare. But for those 50 million Americans, the Republicans have done their best in the states to undermine it and make sure it don't work. So like if you're in New York, you might be good. New Jersey, you might be good. But if you're in South Carolina, you're in Tennessee, you're in Georgia, it ain't no good for you. And so those are the things that need to be fixed, and find a way to get a control over these prescription drug costs. Prescription drugs is the one thing that we didn't touch under the ACA, because the Senate cut a deal to say, hey, don't control drug prices, and we'll make sure that everybody can get coverage if they buy a health insurance plan, but we just going to charge them whatever we want to charge them for the drug costs. And that's the biggest problem.
Wow. So to me, one of the downfalls of Donald Trump's administration, what happened was the COVID-19 handling. As you know, I had COVID-19. I had a pretty bad. I still got a lot of issues dealing with COVID-19 still. Right. Still got a whole bunch of doctor's appointments, lung, scar, and I could go on and on about what happened with me. So if you sit on the new administration, if you was part of that team, how would you start handling from day one? I know this is probably going to be part of Joe Biden's first 100 days. How would you start? What would you go in and start handling with it?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, I'm going to give people the facts about what's going on with the virus. Like you would have a briefing from the administration regularly telling people about how it impacted you. Like if people know you had scarring on your lungs and that you still having trouble breathing, and that the complications of what happens to someone who is in their mid-40s, overweight, with diabetes, what this coronavirus will do to you. I mean, like, you remember them smoking commercials, the woman with the hole in her neck?
I know it's talk like this.
Yeah, you start telling people the truth about what the virus does to you, that's going to wake some people up. But then you got to remember that the 3 W's are the most important thing. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance between people. And we got to get that routine that everybody got to give everybody else the Heisman. You got to give people the Heisman to keep them off of you and stay away and wear a mask. Those are the first 2 things we got to do. The second thing we got to do is recognize.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Explain to the viewers what the Heisman is.
Okay, so the Heisman.
If you've ever, he's an SEC.
Yeah, he's a football player.
So, he think everybody talk football talk on here.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I forgot.
Some of us don't. Some people don't.
New York City, y'all all basketball players, okay?
and baseball. We got my Dominican brothers up here. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Go Mets. So, my context of the Heisman is using your arm to stiff arm people. If you can Google the Heisman Trophy, you see the image of the Heisman Trophy is a guy with a long stiff arm, keeping people off of him, keeping people 3 feet away from him. So my point is, you should never shake hands with anybody for any reason whatsoever. No more shaking hands. We need to kill that as a pastime until the coronavirus is gone. So don't dap nobody up. Don't shake nobody's hand. Don't give nobody a pound. You do the kid and play with them. You kick them in the foot and y'all stay 6 feet apart. That's the first thing. That's what the Heisman is to keep your distance and keep people away from you. And then wear a mask. I mean, like, everybody got to wear a mask. They all fashionable now, but wear a mask every day and literally wash your nasty hands. Debbie Fresh made that song, 20 seconds or more, wash your hands incessantly. Yep. That's the 3 things you got to do. And the last thing I would say for the team Biden is don't put it out in the atmosphere that people think we're going to get a vaccine for this. We're not going to have a vaccine anytime soon. If you hear somebody telling you we're going to get a vaccine, I would be very leery about taking it.
Correct.
Because even if it does work and keep you from getting the coronavirus, there is no way for us to understand the long-term effects that vaccine might have on you. Like, it might work. It literally might work to keep you from getting sick from the coronavirus. But 5 years, when you got a fist growing out the side of your head, then you're going to have a problem.
Yep.
So the safest thing you do is wash your hands.
Yeah.
You know, wear a mask and watch your distance with people. That's what we got to do.
All those things. Those things are very tough, though. You know, we as people, you know, human beings being very community-oriented people, you know, it's a tough. It takes a certain discipline that we have not had time yet to.
Yeah, it's.
You know,
I don't pretend that it is ever going to be easy at all. It's not going to be easy, especially if you live in a city or a crowded area, or you live in a big family. Like, there's some rules for this. So if like you're in a house with people who you love and who you see regularly, maybe there's a context that you might be okay with having that close distance. Like my wife and I was just trying to figure out Thanksgiving, and you know, I got one child, so it's 3 of us in our house, and that's it. Yeah. But we got big families, and we usually spend, like last Thanksgiving, we rented a house in Orlando, Florida, and we had 27 people in a 10-bedroom house in Orlando, Florida for Thanksgiving. And it was remarkable. We had a great time. So we used to being like that, but we know we can't do that. But we did say, okay, who can we take a calculated risk to invite to our house, or whose house we can go to because we know they've also been safe. So yeah, my moms can come over. My wife's mom and dad can come over. Maybe my brother and his son can come over, but that's might be as far as we get. So we can't do it big like we normally do. We can't throw the barbecue like we normally would do and be out in the park with, 40, 50, 60 people, but we just got to do it in some level of moderation. And we just got to be cautious when we do it and make everybody wash their hands before they come in. And that's just the way we got to treat it until we can get a handle on this thing.
So, Anton, we got to wrap up. So I know I want to hold up your time, and I appreciate you, brother. Like, I want you to promote. Like, listen, brother, I support my brothers, and this guy's and Anton is really hip hop, bro. He got Chuck D to write the forward in this joint.
Oh, he's official.
He's official. He's official. This my dude for real. Like, this dude ain't no joke. He ain't no sucker. Like, he keeps it a buck, and so that's my dude. So, Anton,
thank you,
where
man.
can people find you at your podcast, all that stuff like that?
Yes.
Let them know. I'm gonna keep holding the books up for you, though, man.
Yes, I appreciate it. So, if you want a copy of that book, The Presidential Principles, and I will be autographing it. If you go to presidentialprinciples.com, purchase a copy, I'll autograph it. I got 10 quotes from my favorite artists at the beginning of every chapter in my book. My first book, The Audacity of Leadership, Chuck D wrote the forward. I'm at Anton J. Gunn on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn is where I do most of my engagement. So connect me on all platforms. And of course, if you need a speaker, you want some training, you want somebody to help your business or organization, you can go to antongunn.com. That's my home website. You'll learn more about my brand. And I got a free course to teach you how to build a world-class culture in 4 steps in your organization. Go to antongunn.com/free course. Take my free course, and it'll help you to improve your work environment, help you to be a better leader and have a bigger impact for people. But most importantly, show you the right way to build a culture that matters so you can be significant, not just successful.
Yo, that's beautiful, man. Like, listen, brother, like, I love you, man.
Thank
I
you,
want
brother.
your family to be safe, man. Hold on. I almost forgot my fifth question, my last question.
What's that?
Top 5 groups or duos in hip hop.
Top 5 groups or duo. So Public Enemy, number 1.
There you
Gotta be. Most gangster rap group of all time. Gangster.
That's right. Number 2, Run DMC. You can't discount Run DMC. They broke the mold, everybody.
You cooking with grease.
Tribe Called Quest, number 3. Okay. You got to put them on the list. Number 4 is Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, like if you didn't see this backdrop behind me, you would see the 5 albums that I got on the wall in my office. And the 5th album I got on the wall is the Moment of Truth album by Gang Starr. DJ Premier and Guru, they in my top 5. Just the beats alone would put them in the top 5. But Guru speaks to my soul, man, around what it means to be a black man and what it means to struggle. So, that's my top 5.
Yo, I wonder who's gonna win the verses when they're gonna do. It's gonna be Tropical Quest versus Outkast.
I like Outkast, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say that Tribe is official, man. That's it. Yeah. And don't get me started on guest appearances.
Oh, listen, man. Listen, Anton, man. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy dude, man. I love you, brother, from the heart, man. I mean, you've been, listen, brother, we're gonna stay in touch, and hopefully, when this COVID thing, goes by, we link up and hang out. Besides on Facebook and stuff like that, man.
Yeah, we can do it, man. It's great to be on with y'all. Y'all doing great work. Keep it up, man. And we can make it happen, brother.
All right, man. Peace. Be safe, man. Enjoy the holidays too.
I'm
gonna follow up with you in 2021. I'm gonna see we're gonna follow up about what's going on with Joe Biden. So it's first of the day. We're gonna talk about it. All right, brother. Peace, man.
Peace
Enjoy your night.
You too,
my man.
Yo, that was good look. A good look for sponsors.
I think D messed it up though with that with the throat, man. Come on, bro. I'm like, we were that close.
Yo, but that was a good look for sponsors. Even somebody said it in the comments. That was great. Hey, Kelvin, welcome back, baby. You look great.
Thank you. You know what happened? CNN had, it was a conflict. But I'm sorry, I'm back with the crew. I'm back with the crew.
All right. You got to handle that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Calvin, look, you about to go out. Got your going out shirt on, man. Look,
Ain't no club open, Calvin. Where you
he said the Spanish club. This is known as Laundry Day.
We got our sponsors back, Kelvin. We got our sponsors back.
Yes, I've been hearing.
And wait the next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna have him back.
So excited.
Kelvin, listen, man. Anton's a brilliant dude, man. He worked hard with the Obama administration, man. I knew him the first day. I remember seeing him on USC, University of South Carolina campus. And I was like, damn, this is a big dude, man. Like, this big dude, like, I don't want to be having no problem. So I made friends with him real quick. You know what I'm saying? He had a big ass little fro going. I was like, nah, I ain't messing with this dude. This dude's gonna be part of Team D, like that people and that, so but that was good. But I want to make sure, so I'm looking at the TV to make sure so when Biden comes on and stuff like that. So we got another guest coming on, man. This is my sister. Like, listen, we all know about the back in the days, like Alpo. You talk about Rich Porter and all of those gangsters from Harlem and stuff like that. You got Demisio, from Brooklyn and all that stuff. You got Fat Cat and all that stuff. Like, a lot of people read these stories. We look at Paid in Full and all these other gangster stories, the black gangster stories that we watch. But this person actually was around with those people. She's seen them move. She's seen the Nickies and all of those kind of cats move around and stuff like that. So this is my girl, Miss T. She wrote a book. She's got a big following on YouTube. With all the stories and stuff like that. So without further ado, Sam, can you bring in Miss T, please?
Hey, Miss T.
Hey. Yo,
how y'all doing?
Good seeing you. This is my sister right here, man.
Yeah.
Got a Harlem heroin book out and everything. Like, they got the book so people can see. Make sure we know. So, all right, we're gonna promote that book some more and stuff like that tonight too. So we're gonna make sure we're gonna put it at the end. Forgot. Got two books in the streets. Got two books. And listen, that last title, we might have to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my man Ryle he loved this kind of. This is his lane. So
yeah, this is my stuff right here.
This is his lane right here, Miss T. So can you give people a little background of like who you are and stuff like that, and that, and then we're gonna jump into it after that.
I'm just a female from Harlem who grew up in the 90s and 80s. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. So, it came a time where, I was dealt with some influential people that was in the game, and it came a time where something tragic happened, and I had to write about it. I had to put my life in a book, in book form. And I only did that not to glorify anything, because when this tragic thing happened to me, the game wasn't fun anymore to me. And I felt like, what? People need to understand that it was more than what they saw. It was so much more going on behind the scenes, and it wasn't what it was cracked up to be.
And speaking of crack.
Okay, segue. Hey.
Good segue.
you came up in an era when crack was starting to get real popular. Like some of the people, like we like who you mess with and stuff like that. How did you get in the game in like 1989?
Who dropped you your first package?
No,
and it wasn't me.
Come on, you ain't gonna go with it. It was a long time ago. You ain't gonna do that, right?
Long time ago. I know that a long time ago. You know,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So go ahead. Without saying my name.
No, well, I actually got in, it had to be like around 86, 85, when I asked my uncle. I always loved money. I love to dress, you know, but the thing is, I didn't need it, but I wanted more. So being greedy and just wanting to be a part of something, I had asked my uncle to give me some dust to go sell. And I had started with dust in Harlem on a very popular block, 123rd and 7th, where, you know, I say in my doc, or, you know, even where I think street legends were made, you know, so that's where I started at with dust. And then moved up.
We are talking about angel dust, right?
Yes, angel dust, PCP, yeah.
We got some younger viewers on it. They don't know what dust is.
You know, they don't know what dust is.
Yeah.
So I was 18, I think, at the time, maybe 17, because that was like about 85, 86. So I was actually, I was a little younger than that. Yeah, but yeah, that's when it started. And you know, once you get a taste of that money coming in, and back then it was just enough money for everybody. It's amazing. It was enough money for everybody. And you know, when you're young and you get that, you know, either me selling it or being in a relationship or dealing with people who is selling it, and I was still able to benefit, you know, it's kind of like a rush. Yeah.
So you think people, like a lot of people addicted to the hustle, and that's why they get in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The hustle is an addiction.
Yes. Yeah. The fast money, the fancy cars, the nice clothes, going out, all that. Yeah. But Miss T, I want to ask you a question. You dated a lot of well-known drug dealers, correct?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Anybody that were really big names?
I mean, I didn't date him, but I dated Lou Sims. He and I had a relationship. He's more known for being one of the most dangerous men in Harlem.
Correct.
I would say that's what he's known for.
He was an enforcer, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So him, Ace, my daughter's father, he was known in Harlem because he was the partner of Fritz, who was called the Consignment King.
Yeah.
If anybody know who Fritz is the one who he was the plug.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. You used the word consignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back now, do you think those consignment deals were they were good or were they bad?
No, they were good. No, they were good.
Did a lot of people not pay?
It depends, because it really depends. I wouldn't say a lot of people didn't pay because you got the opportunity to make the money. Yeah. So it wasn't like, you know what I mean? So, and then why would you mess up a good thing? Of course, you're going to have people that I wouldn't say they didn't pay because they ran off. They probably didn't pay because
they got locked up.
That, or they messed up, because everybody don't know how to hustle.
Yeah, correct. That's why I was asking.
That get the money and then they want to spend it because they want to floss, and it's like no, you know,
Because not me. You know, I knew people. I talked to people, but the reality of it is, like, you know, some people used to say the consignment deal was bad because you hit a guy with a brick of coke, and he can't move that coke, or he's taking too long, or he gets knocked for that coke, which is arrested. Then the bottom line, he can't pay that money back. In
that instance, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I used to say consignment deals are risky. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, I wanted to ask a question, and I saw the comment on the screen that someone posed about the impact it had on the community. I also wanted to know, I noticed there seemed to be a marriage at one point between hip hop and the drug game. and it one, I think, helped accelerate the other one. So I'm assuming that there's a lot of people that just perpetuated it in music in the two communities. Could you give us a little bit about when you saw that happen, either the danger of it, or I guess maybe with transparency to see how some people were maybe influenced and other people to be in it and they weren't in it themselves? And I just know, because not every, one of my cousins who was really into drugs and stuff like that, he said if anybody ever got on a record telling the stuff that they actually did, that would be the dumbest thing in the world. And he said the people that really was doing that, they weren't about that. So if you kind of delineate between the two worlds.
Back then, I think we found out later how much the street game influenced hip hop. I don't think when it was happening, we knew, or whoever was, the influencer actually knew. Later on, you can kind of see how it did influence the game in many ways. So I think once it was happening, or when things was going on, I don't think at the time, people was in the street or dealers was in the street saying, yeah, I'm influencing these rappers to do this and that. I think we found that out or saw it after the fact, because then you start hearing names and records and them, referencing clothing and names of killers and drug dealers and things like that. So at the time, I don't think they even had a clue about what they was doing and the influence that they had. And they had a large impact on it. I don't think they even realized that.
It seems as though it fed into one another. The rap, originally was just kind of reflected what was happening, and then eventually, that kind of fed into, actually doing it, for the later generations, So,
right. Yeah.
So one of the things, part of the game is the violence part, right? So, and I know, and the violence at one time came to your door, basically, yourself. So, are you at liberty to speak about that, or are you comfortable talking about that? Or?
Yeah, I'm comfortable because I made it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I made it. My true. God, it's awesome. But yeah, I was 6 months pregnant. Well, my fiance got locked up, and so I had to take over what he was doing, and also Fritz was gonna give me a portion of whatever money he was doing, just to put away for Ace or whatever. And I was like 21 years old, 6 months pregnant, and my brother-in-law came to the door. He came to get something, came to the house because I was doing business. I had like 2 apartments, but I stayed at my mom's while I was pregnant because I was sick a lot. And then one thing about me, I've always shared. I had 2 apartments, fully furnished, paying the rent, and I was allowing other people to stay in my apartments. That was just me, And my brother-in-law came and then left. 5 minutes later, no more than 5 minutes, I got a knock on the door, and 3 masked gunmen rushed in because there was a female with them who actually said my name. So I thought it was my sister. Instead of saying, who or whatever, I just opened up the door. And 3 masked gunmen pushed in and said, "Where's the safe?" As soon as they said that, I already knew I had been set up because there wasn't too many people who came in and knew I had a safe because Fritz actually told me to buy it. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was him. And, I had to, I was young. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even scared. I just couldn't. I think I was more in shock because I couldn't believe that these people are in my home. They got guns to my head. So I'm doing this to make sure they don't go off because I don't know if these are amateurs or what, And they said, take them to the safe. And I did. But I didn't open it immediately. I don't know. At that age, I was, back then, a lot of us were so much more mature than the 21-year-olds of today, So I was thinking on my feet at the same time while I'm playing with the safe, acting like I'm nervous. I'm just thinking, and one guy was like, "I'm a killer." Then I said, "I'm not opening up nothing because you can't carry this. There's no way they would have got that out." It was hard to even push it you literally got to get on all fours and all your knees and literally push it. That safe is in my mother's house to the day. It's empty. So in case anybody try to come back, it's empty.
Put that out there.
Right.
She's a working lady.
And I covered it for years because I couldn't even look at it. But I was like, I'm not going to open it because he's talking crazy. I'm talking to the other two who seems a little more level-headed, you know? So, you know, at that time, I just had to play the cards that I was dealt. And I was like, listen, y'all could take everything here. There's jury right there. Just don't hurt me and my baby. You know, they did that. The itchy one still was like, get on the bed, put the pillow on your head. And I was not doing that. I was like, I'm not doing that. So, yeah, you know, and that's a part of the game that, you know, people, you know, looking from the outside, it looks glamorous. But these are the type of things that was going on, you know, behind the scenes. And these are the type of things that we had to go through. And it's a consequence because what we was doing was wrong at the end of the day, you know, and that's a consequence.
And that's a good message to a lot of young girls. You know, I work with young kids. A lot of girls get these charges. And they don't understand. They don't understand this part of the game. You know, that it's some violence. The good times can happen, but it's a lot of bad times. Serious lot of bad times are coming. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a lot of bad times. And today, the money is not even worth the risk. Is not even worth
right.
At all. They're not money like it was.
Yeah, those days are long gone. You'll never see that type of money again. Technology has stopped that. You know, the surveillance and everything. You're never going to see it again. But I wanted to ask you this. Your era was Alpo, Rich Porter, AZ.
You
know, Kevin Charles.
They was right up the block from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in Queens, right? And you know, when the situation happened with Rich Porter, what was being said in Harlem about who was responsible for it? Because the thing is, we heard in Queens who might be responsible for it. So did Harlem know who was responsible for it?
No, it was more of a shock.
It
was a big shock. Darnell
let me just, I hate to interrupt you, Ms. T, but I just want to bring the viewers up to speed. Rich Porter was a drug dealer. He was murdered by another drug dealer, and he was a well-known drug dealer. And, you know, basically urban legend type of drug dealer. And basically someone close to him murdered him. So,
and the movie Paid in Full is based
on Rich Porter and Alpo and AZ. But go ahead, Miss T. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. It was definitely a shock because that was a baby, 12 years old. When we heard that he was kidnapped. And then eventually,
for people don't know,
that's his brother, little brother.
Brother. I'm sorry.
Little brother was kidnapped. The
little brother was kidnapped. So it was a shock because everybody is wondering what happened to this little boy. And then eventually, before they even found the little brother, this is when Richard was found. Rich Porter's body was found even before they found the little brother. So then that's probably when the speculation went on about who did it. And of course they thought Alpo did it. So they probably figured he killed both of them. But it was I said, wow, like in my book, I have a chapter called Paid in Full. I said a smart person would have taken that opportunity to do that to Rich so that the police and whomever can think that they were connected, but they were not connected in no way, shape, or form. It's just that opportunity just presented itself, and it was just such a coincidence and a very sad moment, you know. And I try to tell people, I go back and forth with people. At the end of the day, you know, I knew Rich, AZ. I didn't know Poe back then, but of course we knew of him. And I was actually in his presence back then. But I wasn't a Rich, AZ, or Alpo groupie, you know. But the thing is that we have to understand that it's the game. Things happen. Now, I was a little mad that Alpo took that opportunity knowing that a family was going through a kidnapping of a child.
Correct.
Like, why would you give the family a double blow like that? So I did have that feeling of, wow, you know, how could you do that and be so insensitive to that? But you have to also think that the game ain't fair to nobody. The streets have never been fair. The streets don't love nobody.
But you know, the actual kidnapping was Rich's Porter's uncle.
Their blood uncle.
His he kidnapped the kid. Yeah, right.
Yes. Him and the Preacher crew. Now, Preacher was a very dangerous man from uptown, and he had a crew with him that was just as dangerous. crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tell you, money, man, money will make people do some crazy things.
Correct. Especially when it's a lot of money involved and they don't have no money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the message like I want to keep on telling to the young people to understand this. Like your best friend will line you up.
Correct.
All day.
Correct.
I just came from federal prison with one of my not federal prison, sorry. Federal court with my friends on Thursday. And the people that was in business with him, whatever, or associated with him, all lined him up. They all came, they all home and he's going away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's getting 8 years and everybody else is going home. You know what I'm saying? So the people don't understand that you got the law enforcement part of it, you got the murder part of it, you got the robbery part of it. And I just want to make sure young people, if you see this, when they see this, that they understand these are all the elements.
Right.
Part of if it's credit card scams to drug dealing to whatever it is, these are all the elements you young people have to be aware of that's going on in these streets when you get part of this dirty game. Yeah.
Right.
And I want to add something
all the way through, no matter what. You can't trust nobody.
Correct.
Yeah, true. I want to add something too that everybody on the show, I don't know if you know Miss T, I used to be a police officer. I worked for the police department for 22 years. And I'm telling you, I've seen it from both sides, from the street side all the way to the law enforcement side. And you would be shocked at who is snitching, who's telling.
I really wouldn't, because I'm real close. I mean, I get what you're saying, because I'm cool, thank God. I'm cool with some law enforcement, and it's amazing how I've been told how some of them, like dudes in the street, got them on speed dial to let them know.
Correct.
Okay, let Rodney tell you something real quick.
I used to work for a unit. I used to work for a unit, Miss T, that we had a separate cell phones for informants. And let me explain something else. You'll be very shocked that some of the guys that's in the streets that we consider being bouted, or that guy is a paid informant.
Yeah,
is a paid informant. So my advice to young people out there that think that the streets are legit and your day one is going to hold you down or whatever. Dudes ain't doing football numbers no more. Guys can't FaceTime like that no more. So I'm telling you, they're telling. Now, I do remember being a teenager in the 80s, and I would say guys were more of a stand-up guys back then. And guys would take their time and do the bid. But once guys started getting 30, 40, 35 years, or whatever, then you started to see the game. But do you notice now how the culture has changed from the time you were in the game to...
Oh, yeah.
Not saying you're in the game now, but you see the culture today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because like I said, I have law enforcement that tell me, and everybody and their mom out here telling.
Everybody's telling. Everybody's telling.
I had an OG come to me, and he was like, yo, Miss T, I need you to write this book on snitching, getting at snitches. That was the initial idea. But then when I started asking questions, doing my little research, I'm like, it's too many snitches out here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to get at snitches, because what I realized, that's why I said the name is called Snitching. The streets are fair game, but the game has never been fair. So what I give in here is scenarios, real scenarios. I even have a story of here on my own, of how the game goes down and how snitching really goes down. Snitching is a business.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it's a business between the government and the informant. Some snitches get more money from the government than they ever made on the street. They get taken care of. Rent paid, a car. You get 18 months to the work.
That's mostly the feds. The feds will pay your life. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Hey, some state police I know too got some people on payroll.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a business at the end of the day. And then again, you have some people that's just not built like that. You think and I say in the book, nobody really knows what they're built for until that situation happens.
Correct.
Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? You might, like he said, like Rodney said, you might have these dudes out here, you thinking they about it, and they done beat this so much, until the time comes, they not ready to do that time. It was never in them. They've been fronting the whole time. You got some dudes like, I'm gonna take 30, I'm gonna take 25 and go ahead about my business, as long as they ain't giving me the death penalty. I'm good.
Yeah.
But a lot of dudes in these streets are not built like that. And that's why I also have a chapter in Harlem Heron called Street Image. Because like like I said, nothing in that this book is not glorifying anything. I have messages all through the book, because at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, is it all worth it? Mm-hmm. It's a chapter called Street Images, and it's for dudes who either want to act tough, want to do this or do that. It's always somebody that's going to be willing to test you.
Yep.
Don't be anything other than who you are for the streets, because again, the streets don't love you.
Nobody. They don't love nobody.
You know what? You just touched on a question that I wanted to ask, and I always wondered this when there came a time when we watched like New Jack City, and we would see shows like The Wire. When the people wanted to be in charge and they wanted to ascend to power, what, in your estimation, is the end game? What does success look like for a drug dealer?
Success is for a drug dealer would be staying alive and not being in prison. That's it.
So you stack all the money and all that stuff like that, and at the end of it, you hope to walk away and just like, I beat the system. I always wondered. I'm saying, when you get where does it take you? For instance, I look at Harlem and I see there's a lot of people that don't look like us who own Harlem now, and everybody had all these millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And didn't buy these buildings and buy these brownstones and still don't have anything. And I'm like, what, as you said a minute ago, was it worth?
Right. Because it would have been worth it if we were smart enough. Now, some people were, not many. I probably could count on one hand, who somebody was able to put that bug in their ear and say, listen, buy this store, buy this property. Like, had Fritz lived, I would have done that. But he wasn't here to school me, and Ace was gone, because like I told you, I had a meeting with somebody today, and we could have owned Harlem. I mean, we could have bought that Black Wall Street back years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so much money here. But when you're not educated on business and you're not business savvy, and also not even that, at that time, the money was coming so crazy. Yeah. You didn't have time to stop and think and do anything.
It was intoxicating.
It was just laser focused on selling that product, getting that money, putting it up somewhere, but mostly spending it, because it wasn't too much of putting it up. And yeah, that's the sad part about the game and what happened. Is like, was it worth it? Because a lot of people came out of it with absolutely nothing. You know, families, nothing. You know, even to the point of, you know, family members getting caught up in the game and either going to jail or getting killed, and they had absolutely nothing to do with it. So, like, the end game, like, again, you know, I think I don't complain about nothing. I'm so happy to be alive. Y'all have no idea. Like, my life's so simple. I don't require much, you know, because I know I could have been in the ground right now. I know, I mean, I had two major things that happened: me getting robbed, which I could have got killed, and then me getting shot. And then, you know, I traveled to Baltimore. Man, listen, Baltimore back in the day, 93, 94, was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I've been to Greensboro, North Carolina. Like, I've been certain places where it's like, I know there are times that danger was probably lurking behind a corner, and God saved me. And I still don't even know, you know, to this day what it was, but I'm happy that I'm still here. You know, I'm just happy that I'm able to tell my story and people understand it. And it makes me feel so good. And you know, the gratification of when men, because that's all I care about is my Black men just doing better. When I have men hitting me up on YouTube, on Instagram, saying, yo, Miss T, salute, Queen. I'm glad you made it out. Thank you for your story. I had one guy from Baltimore say, Miss T, I just bought a 3-bedroom house. Things are getting kind of hard. But when I see your story and I go back to it, it humbles me. So I'm just going to work and keep on doing what I got to do. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah. Hey, Ms. T, let me ask you a question. Someone asked a question. I just want to point out, Kiara, she wants to know, you know, what do you feel about shows like Power? Do you feel it's realistic? What about the realism of a show like Power? What do you think of it?
It could happen. I mean, you know, I think because there are some people that I know that did the streets and had a club and really made it happen. Like, I mean, I know drug dealers from back then that had accountants because they had so much money. Like, I dealt with a guy who used to say, yo, T, you want to go shopping? Because the accountant said, I'm not spending enough money. Like, they had legitimate business set up to cover what they was doing. So it could be real, but I like to tell people for entertainment purposes, that's what you have to embellish when it comes to TV.
Correct.
We go back to paid in full because I go back and forth with people about this whole paid in full thing. And I say, listen, it's entertainment. Everything that happened in that movie did not happen in real life, you know, but people take that movie to heart. It's incredible how, you know, TV really does influence people that are grown and of age, and they take it to heart because they fell so in love with Mitch that they feel like Mitch could do no wrong and has never did any wrong, and that's just absolutely not true.
Correct.
Could you ever be at peace when you know, let's go back before the robbery, and you have, I'm assuming, you know, the money may be flowing and unlimited. But a regular day, is it every day you're literally in fear for your life, or you're just concerned, or you don't trust, or how's a normal day go?
No, I was. It's not a everyday thing where I wake up and I'm nervous and I'm scared. No, that wasn't it, and I don't think that's the case for anybody. But you are aware, so it's a difference. I wasn't in fear, but I'm always aware of what's going on. I've always been one to kind of see, you know, just analyze who's around me and what's going on around me. Because again, can't trust people all the time. And I've been like that, you know, since a young girl. But yeah, I mean, you can't, I mean, when you're in a game like that, you can't be nervous because you got to be thinking on your feet, you know, when it comes to certain things.
Wow. What do you think of the changes that are going on in the neighborhood now, you know, these days?
Gentrification. I mean,
Anything. What are the changes that you see in the neighborhood?
I mean, what I don't like today is the gun violence. It seems so senseless to me. I can't, like the baby that got the 1-year-old earlier this year, I think got killed in Brooklyn. I don't understand it. It's just, it seems like once they opened up, I don't know what was going on with these, you know, with this generation, and you just out there blazing, not hitting your intended target. Like, I don't get it. What's the purpose? Like, it's not about no money. What is it about? That is something that boils my blood. Like, you know, I honestly think education has always, from even back then, has always been the reason for us having to be in the street. Some of us. You know what I'm saying? As far as a lot of Black men, education, I think education is the key to success, and just knowledge is power. You know, if you know what to do and how to do it, and somebody teach you something, you know, you can go out there and try to figure it out and get it. I think that is a big part of our problems out here in the streets. You know, illiteracy is a big problem. I have a big problem with that too. You know, men not being able to read, and it's okay. You know, I did a video on that. You bringing children into this world and you can't teach them anything because you're illiterate. I have a problem with that. It takes nothing. It takes absolutely nothing to ask for help. And I gave my email out secretly. They can contact me. I don't care what state they in. I'll try to find them a program. Most libraries have GED programs, but we got to educate ourselves to do better. And without that, some of us are just going to be stuck.
Yeah, and I think also, like, with certain things, I know is the code. Like, there's no code with the shooting going on. Yeah. I think also with the hustlers of the late 80s, early 90s, also the music was different. Now the music is all about violent, blowing brother head, shoot a whatever. You know, I don't want to see the N-word on here and everything. Like, you know, that kind of changed it, and everybody's trying to live that lifestyle. So it's like it's kind of crazy. Like,
live a lifestyle that they're not built for.
Correct. So. Correct. You know, real quick, I'm going to wrap up right now. But Miss T, how'd you get that name? What's in the street? Who gave you that name, Miss T?
Okay, in the 90s, I met some guys from Queens, and they was like, "Yo, shorty, what you do?" Because you know I had the fur, the jewels on, looking
the white one, the white fur on.
Yep. So they was like, "What you do?" And one of them was like, "Yo, this Lady Heron," and I swear. The name of the book was going to be Lady Heron, but once my editor read through it he was like, "Nah, T, we got to put Harlem Heron." So I give all the credit to D and them. Absolutely. And I'm writing Harlem Heron too, and I write that story. That story is in there because people don't know.
Hey, when I wasn't hustling when I met her. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
long time ago.
Yeah.
So listen, I want to people can find you. Put the books up again. Where they can find you at. Your Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff like that. Tell people where they can find you at.
Instagram is Harlem Heron, at Harlem_Heron on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, I'll be on a special. I'm not sure when it's coming on, but I'll let you guys know. It's called Crack. It'll be on Netflix. It's me, Charles Rangel, and maybe 2 other people. And we're just discussing the crack era of the 80s and 90s and where we were wrong. And I definitely take ownership, and I hold myself accountable for contributing to that time, because at the time it was wrong. You know, selling drugs is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Murdering people is wrong. You know, but I talk about it, and you know, I just hope that we can do better. And this is another thing, it's amazing how much the streets will influence a person, because I went out there, I was in a 2-family household, strict Jamaican father, big on education. My mother cooked 7 days a week, so I wanted for nothing. But that greed is dangerous. Greed is dangerous. It will get you in trouble. Yep.
Listen, Miss T, we truly, truly appreciate you, Queen. So happy to have you on here. Anything you ever knew, you just call me. I'm going to show up for that joint. I love you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Keep teaching the kids, and any of them older brothers that that's in New York and they need help. I ran GD programs for over
yes.
years.
And I hit jail, schools or whatever, because at the end of the day, if I could help somebody, I believe that God kept me here for a reason. So I have to do my part.
That's right.
I have to tell my story, So,
Yep. I appreciate you, sister. Have a good night. Be safe.
Bye, Miss T.
And I love you, girl.
To you. Thanks, guys. And
congratulations
on your show.
All right. That's Miss T. AKA Sam, you still got her in the studio, Sam, AKA Miss Lady Heroin, and I gave her that name a long time ago.
Long time ago.
When I used to be outside a lot, so let's put it like that. I used to be outside a lot, so But listen, I know, brother, this was a good show tonight, man. We had our brother Anton Gunn brought it to us tonight. Lady Heron was giving lessons to the young folks out here and everything like that. So we had a little bit of mix of both. So what you guys think, how the show went? How do you think it was?
I think it was great. We're going to get some sponsors.
Yes, I think next week we'll have some sponsors.
Yeah. That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
As I want to tell everybody, listen, you find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and stuff like that. Please like and subscribe. And I don't want to hold you guys up for the rest of the night. Like, I love you, brothers. We got our sisters on here right now. She's speaking about just before Joe Biden. So I know I want to wrap it up. And I love you guys, man. And be safe.
We love you too.
Love you back, brother.
Love you, brother.
Fellas.
Love you guys. Love you.
Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.